In this video, I'm going to make a shape that I'm going to call the Georgy Girl because I saw the shape in the background of the video of the Seekers singing Georgy Girl. So it's this uh, sort of circle and then these, I don't know, amoeba-shaped uh, shapes sort of within it. And so here's my starting point. I'm going to I have a large circle and then I have uh, these sort of six circles, and then there could be a middle circle. So the smaller circles are like a third of the radius of the larger circle, and then so you're going to see a third floating around. And when I do the code, and then um, I'm making this equilateral. I think yeah, that's an equilateral triangle. To figure out where these two circles, I'll say meet or kiss. And so if this is a third of the radius, then this is going to be a third of the radius times cosine of 30. If this is an equilateral triangle, that's 60. And then if I bisect it, it's 30. And this is the adjacent side, so it's cosine. So you'll see like a cosine 30 floating around to figure out where these meet. And then these like amoeba shapes are going to be three arcs. So I'm going to start on the edge of the outer circle and come along one of my inner circles until the point, not the first kiss, but the second kiss. So I'm going to come around sort of a large part of the circle, and then I'm going to switch over to this next adjacent circle and make its arc down to the sort of next point along the outer edge, and then trace back along the big circle to finish up this sort of amoeba shape. And then I will have six amoeba shapes. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so I have some style, not much, but in part of my style is I have a variable within the style that half size is um, half the size is going to be half the size of my SVG, which is going to be a square shape, so it's going to be 600 by 600, but I'm making that a variable. And then my width and height of my SVG is twice that half size. Okay. And then there is an empty SVG. Let me run it here. And here is my Georgy Girl shape. Okay. And so I'm making this uh, in three arcs, and then I'm making six of them. Okay. So this fraction is just, I'm not going to fill the whole square. I'm going to go to, I don't know, 80% of the square. Um, I'm going to have six circles going around. The cosine of 30 is floating around in there. So that's the square root of 3 on 2. And I'm going to have the angle of 30 and the angle of 60. I handled that differently than handled the 60 different than the 30 for no good reason. Okay. Here's me in JavaScript getting that variable that I had up in style. This is just making the whole large circle. So it's an SVG circle, it's centered. The M was sort of half the size, so MM is the center of my square, making a radius of my fraction like 80% of my half the size of the square, making it fill it in with white, and the stroke is black, and the stroke width of 3, and I'm adding it to my SVG GG for George Girl. And then here is my loop over six things. I am taking 2 pi and dividing it by 6 and multiplying it by I. So I'm getting an angle, but I wanted to, the angle typically starts um, at the horizontal, but I wanted to start at the vertical. So I'm subtracting off like 90 degrees so that I'm starting off at the top of a circle rather than at the side. I need a starting point. That's what my M is, and it's going to be M is the MM is the center, and then M times the fraction times the cosine of theta and the sine of theta. So that gives me those points on the edge of my circle, sort of marked off like every 60 degrees. And then I'm going to have 3 arcs. So you see them here, here, and here, my 3 arcs. So that is the A. And then I need an arc is typically a part of an ellipse, but mine are circular. So I have my 2 radii are the same, and it is uh, the 2 smaller circles, that radius is half, and then the outer radius, third arc is the outer radius. So we see here a third of our radius, m times frac times a third. I have that twice. And then I have the outer arc is the larger circle. These, the first thing is sort of an angle of rotation of the ellipse, but because that is I have circular, that doesn't matter, so I just make it 0. And then I have, these are sort of a Boolean 1 and 0, and they're sort of, are you, do you want a sort of more than half the circle, less than half the circle? When you find 2 points, sort of a starting point and an ending point, and some radii, there's still sort of multiple arcs you can draw, and this helps to get the arc that you want. And frankly, I usually just do trial and error because there are 4 choices: 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, and 1, 1. Okay. So, and then I'm going uh, to the point where this is the sort of the kissing point. So again, in that picture, I am finding the place. I'm starting, say, here and coming around, and then finding this kissing point. And so that is there's my cosine of 30. There's sort of twice this radius. Oops. So I have uh, two times the length of this uh, red thing here is sort of 2 of the radii, and but then I really want the kissing point, and so that's the cosine. So it's 2 times my m frac is my radius divided by 3. So m divided by frac 3, that's the radius of my inner circle. Then I have sort of 2 radii, but the cosine of 30. And then I have my angle, which is 30 degrees different than my angle on the outer part of the circle that I started with. And same thing, but for sine. And then, so that was, again, this kissing point. So I'm coming around past the first kissing point to the second kissing point. Then I take over on the next circle, and I'm going along here. And so that is another radius of the third, and a different, because now I'm sort of more outside the circle than inside the circle. Um, and this is the point on the edge, but the sort of 60 degrees later. And then I finish up going back to the original starting point, uh, m frac cosine of theta and sine of theta with the full radius. And then I add the path and fill it in. And it was a black and white show. So it was, I'm just saying it was a white, looks white and gray. So that's what I used, white and gray, not very colorful, but um, that was my inspiration. Happened to be a black and white show. So that's it. Some of the shape made up of three arcs, six of them sort of, I don't know, swimming around in a circle within a larger circle. And I have no other better name to call it, so I'm calling it the Georgy Girl. Thanks for your attention.